Okay.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
So is everything fine?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Okay, then may I please also ask, as people are joining, do I start or will someone speak before me?
No, someone will speak before you. We'll just wait about 5 minutes for everybody to join, as it's only 12 o'clock now. So some people might have network issues or maybe some delays. So we'll just wait about 5 minutes and then we can go ahead with our program.
Okay.
Hi guys, can everyone see and hear me?
Yes, to me, you
Okay,
listen
perfect.
just fine.
Okay, perfect. So good day to everyone present and a very warm welcome to today's webinar that's presented by Culture Legions. On behalf of the Culture Legions team, I, Demisha Dolamo, would like to thank you for joining us today with a very interesting topic of talent management. Before we begin, I'd like to give you a briefing of Culture Legions. Culture Legions is an agile HR transformation company founded with the intent to drive transformation in organizations, individuals, and management students. We offer consulting and coaching services, as well as organize agile HR training workshops and certification programs. As we are pleased and excited ahead, let me welcome our speaker, Lebohang Rapotse. She is a labor relations specialist and qualified in industrial psychology. So without wasting much time, let's welcome our speaker for the day, Lebohang Rapotse. Would you like to say a few words before we begin the presentation?
Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction. So thank you for joining me today. Just a brief introduction on who I am. As they've already mentioned, my name is Lebohang Raputse. I am currently studying my master's in human resources management. And as you would have already seen and already heard, I've studied my undergraduate degree in industrial psychology, which just refers to applied organizational psychology that is used to study, analyze, and understand human behavior in the workplace, and just mainly on how business works and how employees function within a business. And my postgraduate degree, I did it in labor relations management, which is also known as employee relations. And this just refers to the systems in which employers, workers, and their representatives, the government interact together to set ground rules for the governance of workplace relationships. So we can refer to this relationship as a tripartite relationship. And yeah, so that's basically it. I don't know, can I continue going into the presentation, or is there something else that you're going to say?
Before you start the presentation, just a very warm welcome to you, obviously. It's a big pleasure to have you here with us. And for the audience, please do feel free during the session to type out your questions in the chat box and we'll discuss them towards the end of the presentation. And yeah, you can take the stage.
Okay, thank you. So today, as already mentioned, we'll be talking about talent management. And as you have already seen, once again, we'll be focusing on the future of work, placing value on talent management. So before we really get into the future of work and why it's so important to place value on talent management, I'm just going to give you an idea of what talent management really is. So looking at where talent management used to be, and where it is now and where talent management is heading. And this obviously will be the future for organizational structures. And this will just help us understand how companies can redefine their talent management models to be best fit and prepared for the future world of work. So the evolution of so moving on to the evolution of HR and the war for talent. So we know that human resources before was really focused on your personnel management, looking at administrative services, looking at your payroll, your performance management, your recruitment and selection, and how HR has moved from focusing on human capital management and now talent management, which entails that HR talent experts look at the whole employee life cycle, right from when employees are scouted throughout the onboarding process and the performance management, learning and development, retaining employees, and when employees leave the organization. This is your employee life cycle. So it has since become increasingly important for HR practitioners and talent experts to make use of HR strategies and HR analytics to ensure that they hire accurately and place the right talent to yield a satisfactory outcome. So what is your HR strategy? Your HR strategy is the organization's overall plan for managing its talent to align with its business activities, so that the human resource strategy basically just sets the direction for all key areas of HR, which I stated as attracting talent, hiring, performance appraisals, development, and compensation, and so on. And your HR analytics is the collection and application of talent data to improve critical talent and business outcomes. So HR analytic leaders really just enable HR to develop data-driven insights to inform talent decisions, improve workforce processes, and then further promote positive employee experience. So the war for talent has focused on attracting and increasing the competitive landscape for recruiting and retaining talent employees. And obviously then the future of work is just a projection of how workers in the workplace will evolve, in the years ahead. So where talent management is today. So over the past years, employees' expectations have changed with an increasing strong judgment that there is more to life than just work. Anxiety of uncertainty of life has caused individuals to then seek or make a difference and feel a sense of accomplishment in their personal and professional lives, and expect the employers to support these goals. So COVID-19 really caused people to be anxious and really look into what it is they want to accomplish in their personal lives, and then translate these ambitions and the need to make a difference in their professional lives. And so it's important that talent management today really ensure that employees feel connected, engaged, so that they don't run the risk of missing out on retaining great talent. It's very important that talent management is flexible and takes into cognizance of the fact that individuals over the past years or employees over the past years have changed. So talent management plays a vital role in managing a company's most important assets. Sorry, I just need to move this because I can't see. It's the most important assets, which are the people. And so it focuses on developing a gold talent pool of people to fill in key positions, as well as creating a differentiated set of human resources practices to support talent. Human resources management is also forced to constantly restructure and re-examine the workforce planning, train employees to be proactive with learning emerging skills, investigate the impact of artificial intelligence on the organization, and really looking into the overall employee experience. And as well, digital transformations are necessary and inherent to the changing world of work. So talent management, for the purpose of this presentation, we're looking at recruitment and onboarding, workforce and succession planning, culture and engagement, compensation and benefits, goal alignment and performance management, and learning and development. And this is just your overall employee life cycle, as I had stated already, that it's from the beginning, from your onboarding phase till the very end, until an employee leaves an organization. So why should we care? So more than half of businesses believe that their staff turnover will increase. And obviously this is in relation to also the Great Resignation, which I will go into more detail. So HR will increasingly make use of data analytics to understand the needs of their workforces. So what is it that's driving the global workforce? What do they have to do in order to keep up with the changing world of work? And as well-being, work-life balance, and career-long learning and development are how Great Resignation can be mitigated. What is the Great Resignation? So the Great Resignation just refers to a time where the number of employees leaving jobs reached an all-time high. So this was seen a lot during 2021. Obviously, in the midst of COVID, many of employees felt that there were certain things they were experiencing in the workplace that they could no longer cope with, but I'll go into more detail as to why it is people resigned in that time. So the Great Resignation just refers to the period where many employees started leaving organizations. And it is also said that the Great Resignation is now moving towards a great reshuffle, which is where everyone is reevaluating their professional career and choices, as I've already mentioned, and where organizations reevaluate their business models along with the way in which they operate. So moving into the reasons, so sorry about this. Okay, great. Into the reasons behind the Great Resignation. So firstly, I'm going to speak about burnout. So employees have started to take on more responsibilities than their capacity as the business catches up with the drastic change as a result of COVID. So obviously because of COVID-19, people remote working started increasing, and employees really had to be flexible and really had to diversify their skills into job tasks that weren't there previously. And so this is where we saw employees working longer than they should. For those with families, going back home and being at home, and taking on the responsibility of being both a teacher to children and also ensuring that they keep up with the organizational requirements of them, really caused a lot of employees to feel burned out. And so burnout is one of the reasons why people resign from the companies. And then unfair treatment. So for a long time, unfair treatment has been evident in companies. And so discrimination is still evident in the workplace and still causes employees to resign, as they just don't feel that their work is being valued. And looking at culture of remote working. So remote working brings many advantages, such as saving costs, spending more time with family. However, it also comes with problems, which to discuss a few of these problems for remote working, as I had already mentioned, is taking care of your family members at home. Another problem with remote working is companies now started having to look into the demographics of the employees and really finding out, do employees have the necessary resources to keep up with or to remain in contact and perform the duties required of them from the organization. So in as much as we are moving into a more digital era and a space where remote working is becoming really popular, it does come with a few challenges as well. And the last was just care and insecurity. So this is just a lack of adequate childcare, as I had already mentioned, and health concerns about COVID. Okay. So the role of technology and artificial intelligence. So technology that enables remote working has been available for quite some time, but policies and trust issues have halted progress and held many organizations back from fully committing. And basically what this means is that many organizations, more especially for those that were working remotely in South Africa, and this is just an example, and in another country, working for a company, that's in another country, remote working was evident. However, as I had already stated, there are few constraints when it comes to remote working, and those could be not having enough resources and so on. And that's why organizations didn't really fully commit to going fully remote. However, as a result of COVID, we are seeing that there's now your hybrid working and remote working as well. Technology and talent management is also helping organizations prepare for the constantly changing business environment. And cognitive technologies improve the employee experience by removing tedious tasks, repetitive manual data entry, and collection activities that lead to burnout. So an example I'll just show you at the bottom here would be making use of chatbots to answer frequently asked questions. So as you've already seen, when you log onto a website of certain companies, they've already implemented this AI system in which they have their little chatbots that really answer your frequently asked questions to just avoid repetitive manual data entry. Technological areas that are advancing as well are your data science, AI, and analytics are now being made use of by organizations to plan, execute, monitor, measure, and analyze and predict factors to be more effective when managing their talent and business challenges. Okay, so the importance of technology for effective talent management. Because of time, I won't go into all of these, but I'd just like to brush on a few. So as I've already mentioned, the digitization of HR processes across talent management areas, it helps promote obviously effectiveness and efficiency, also precise decision-making in real time. It just helps us collect big data, help companies just be able to analyze big data in real time, align talent with business strategic needs. Obviously, moving into a more digital era, companies have to create talent management models that are more strategic, that are futuristic, that look into certain jobs that will be there in the future that aren't there now, and how to upskill their employees to be best prepared or best fit for that future work environment that is coming. Reduce hiring cycles and recruitment costs, improve networking and collaboration amongst talents, employee engagement actions, predict future situations, effective talent mobilization and deployment, align compensation and rewards with employee performance and business objectives, and to diversify global talent reach. And this diversification is very important, as now obviously working digitally, it's very important that companies really take on and optimize an opportunity to reach talent all across the world, and really look into geographical factors that may contribute to the type of talent that they are looking for. So the changing work environment. So on the left, you'll see known and unknown. And basically, this is the iceberg model. And this is something that comes from Freud's iceberg model, which speaks about your behavior and some things that you are seeing, things that are evident, and things that you can't really see. And this is your unconsciousness. And so as you see, on the top is known and at the bottom is unknown. So on the top of an iceberg, essentially it is what we can see when we are in a boat and traveling. And at the bottom is what we cannot see. So to relate this to the changing work environment, at the top of the iceberg are the reasons that are known to every organization that require them to adapt to change. The external environment has always influenced organizational change, as organizations had to keep up with the global competitors, and COVID-19, which created a need to accelerate workplace operations. And at the bottom of the iceberg, we have the unknown, which is the predictive nature of the new world of work, where there are skills and future jobs that the current organization just needs to familiarize itself with to remain in operation. Again, coming into the known, we do know now that there's a use of technology and artificial intelligence systems is increasing. Job insecurity is also increasing in organizations. Hybrid working and remote working are also increasing. What we do not know is obviously the roles that will be there in the future. We don't know the rate of employee turnover, and we also can't predict unpredictable circumstances such as COVID. And so it is important that HR talent management experts start looking into roles that may be there in the future, as I already said, to upskill their current talent, to upskill their current talent in the organization. Rate of employee turnover, of course, we do not know how many employees or the reasons as to why employees would leave an organization, but we can look into alleviating this or monitoring it, monitoring employee engagement and employee satisfaction to mitigate the rate at which employees leave an organization. And we also look into your learning and development and basically the overall succession planning of an organization. And your unpredictable circumstances as COVID, it's important that companies now plan for the future start looking at if an incident like this should occur again, how can we best deal with that situation when it comes. And moving right along, are going to developing a talent management strategy. So basically you look at your attracting talent, succession planning, retaining talent, and enabling talent. So attracting talent is looking at prospective talent and your talent pool to ensure that you align really your company culture with what it is that people are looking for. As I said, now because of COVID, people are really looking for a sense of being part of an organization that really accelerates their growth in an organization, at their career progression. And so it's so important that companies look into their it's so important that companies look into attracting the right talent through creating a positive employee culture, through also ensuring that the overall company profile is positive. We have succession planning. Going back into attracting talent. So making hiring easier for candidates. Experience and entry-level jobs is an example I want to make. Obviously being a graduate looking for a job. When you look at entry-level jobs, we see most of them seek experience. So when you go back to COVID-19 and obviously the impact it had on organizations, some had to close down, but we really see, I was reading something, an article which speaks about how companies were moving away from the risk of employing talent that aren't as skilled as those that have left the company, as I spoke about the great resignation. And so companies really started looking into employing talent that are already skilled, because some of them obviously training happened on the job. But I think it's very important that when you attract talent, companies really look at how to mitigate losing out on great talent through shutting them out through wanting experience for entry-level jobs. And then something else, the pandemic's rapid economic recovery forced talent leaders to concentrate on bringing people indoor fast. But during the process, many discovered that their tried and true hiring process was complicated, clunky, and way too slow. And this is where we see our artificial intelligence systems such as and programs put into place for recruitment and selection. And this is where companies have started making use of programs such as HireView, which I'll go into more detail about, and to just create a hiring process candidates want to stick with. Innovating talent teams are focused on making it fast, friendly, and easy to navigate. And as you've seen, many companies now, when you apply, have started sending out feedback, request feedback on how the overall onboarding application process was, the hiring process for candidates. And this is just for them to get real-time data on whether or not they need to look into restructuring how they conduct their hiring process. And then succession planning. So firstly, we look at your employee database. So we just identify and manage critical talent. So we look at our high performers and high potential pivotal workers. And then moving on to your critical talent management, where we look at underperforming units and identify employees that need to go through learning and development processes. Of course, it's important to look at each individual and check each individual's need to develop in a certain area, but overall looking at underperforming units and helping them improve is also a way to ensure success in the organization. Employees are also strategically placed in jobs that will best suit their skills, not looking at the fact that employees should also be taught on how to also work in another department should a time arise for the employee to take on another task if a certain task or a certain job unit is no longer needed in the organization. Customizing employee value proposition. So this just predicts employee preferences and behaviors and really tailor HR practices to attract and retain talent. Forecasting, which is something that's really important now and really seen in organizations now through your analytics and so on. Forecast business requirements and staffing requirements. And obviously this is in order to ensure that you retain your employees and to upskill your employees as well. And lastly, to look in real-time optimization, your talent supply chains. So this is just to adapt rapidly, scale recruiting supply channels and targets to meet changing business conditions, objectives, and competitive threats. So going into retaining talent, it's very important that companies, organizations don't overlook the talent that they already have. So in a competitive job market where hiring is very difficult, it's important that HR focuses not only on retaining existing employees, but also helping them grow into new roles, as I've already explained. And to prevent a high turnover rate, talent managers need to make sure their talent management strategy is designed to optimize people's experience throughout every stage of the employee lifecycle. As I've already mentioned, that's from the onboarding process right into learning and development until an employee leaves an organization. And if talent managers prioritize growth opportunities and encourage employees to play an active role in their professional development, talent managers will then be able to protect the organization from the worst of resignation spikes that so many businesses are seeing. And then enabling talent. So this is basically giving talent the resources and authority required to perform tasks with their acquired or developed skills and competencies. So we look into working alone apart. This is remote working where we really just give employees the upper hand to and trust to really perform tasks alone and not under the supervision of anyone. And then we go into how organizations need to start thinking of strategically, about the future of work. So basically we look into location, so where time will be spent and how time will be spent. So looking at the location, as I already mentioned, you have your hybrid working now, which is really something that we're starting to see across companies. And we also have remote working and looking at working together apart or how time will be spent. We're looking at synchronous work or asynchronous work. So synchronous work just means working together at the same time, and asynchronous work just means employees who work on their own time without the expectation to report back to others or supervisor immediately. Okay, so working together physically in hybrid working in a synchronous work. So this is basically just having people work together in a boardroom, going to the physical workplace. And this obviously would ensure that companies need to, as a result of COVID, really look into how to ensure an overall positive employee experience as they move back to working in the organization. And working together alone. So this just means working in different departments, we in the same vicinity, but just alone. This can also take place if companies start looking into having the employees working at cafes for the time being. And this is just to ensure that your employees can then still have an opportunity to network with each other, but when necessary. Oh, sorry. And then we have working alone together, and this is us being at home and an employees working remotely. So yes, companies need to ensure that they give employees the necessary resources to be able to perform duties and tasks at home. And we have working alone apart. And this is where, as I said, companies really enable their employees and encourage their employees to make use of the skills that they have learned, and really just giving them a responsibility to do tasks without being watched. And then we move on to exploring digital transformations that are changing the workplace. So how has the pandemic changed the traditional hiring and recruitment process? The pandemic has surely changed where recruitment takes place and how recruitment takes place. And so where recruitment takes place, obviously, we're looking at online now, at home, in a different country. So this helps look at different geographies for specific roles and expand to a more international recruitment network as it opens up possibilities for potential staff. And how recruitment takes place, I did say I will explain HireView. And so the future of candidate focused hiring mobilizes candidates to take charge, like with HireView's automated interview scheduling software, which really empowers candidates to self-schedule, reschedule, and manage the logistics of the hiring process themselves. And when we look at exploring talent management trends, we see that there's improved efficiency and decreased time to hire. So cost effectiveness has been made possible through the accelerated use of technology that translates to a decreased time to hire, as well as favoring more efficient hiring processes, automated recruitment systems, and the use of artificial intelligence to speed up the hiring pathway, increasing diversity of hires, so making use of our industrial and organizational psychologists and your talent management professionals to accurately identify talent that can work with and thrive in a diverse environment. And our critical skills are really something that talent management is starting to look at, as it encourages employees to develop their critical skills, which may open several opportunities for their career development instead of only preparing for a specific role, as I have mentioned before. Education and training. So this trend involves skilling, upskilling, and reskilling your employees to enable them to work in other departments, continually educate your employees after employment. Technologies keep evolving, so should our employees. And expanded data collection. So this is making use of technologies to monitor through methods such as virtual clocking in and out, which tracks employees' work computer usage or track employees' productivity. We see many companies now have issued laptops and data for employees that are working remote. And it's really important that organizations create clocking in and clocking out to reduce burnout and having employees work overtime to complete tasks, and to also manage how employees are paid for the work in which they do. And increased independent contractors. So these employees are not on the company payroll and help maintain flexibility in the workplace and introduce talent sharing, where contractors are paid according to the work completed. So we're seeing a lot of organizations go into selecting talent or people that will really, independent contractors that will really contribute towards ensuring that they close the gap with skills that they don't necessarily have in the company, and they just go and acquire these skills outside of the organization. And this is then where they pay people according to the percentage of work that they have done for the organization. Okay, and thank you. That is all from me. You're still muted.
Oh my goodness. So remote working is clearly hard. We forget to unmute ourselves. But thank you so much, Lavarn, for joining us. This is a very wonderful learning session. Now we can just go ahead and take the questions. So everyone, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, or you can raise your hand and unmute yourself and we will get to them. So I think first up, we have Yamkela's question. Yamkela, can you unmute yourself, please? And her question was, sorry, I'm just trying to find it. How can employees handle burnout in the work environment?
I think it's very important to plan your time effectively, and it's very important to also speak to your employer about it, because essentially you should be able to cope with the work that is being given to you, and employers are really supposed to look at the well-being of the employees. So handling burnout really goes with the individual, so ensuring that you are preparing tasks to your capability, to your capacity, and also going back to your managers and speaking to them about whether or not it is that they're giving you more work, and then just going into looking at how they can ensure your overall well-being by probably reducing tasks or extending the date in which your task needs to be handed in.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry, that was actually Zanelisi's question. So Zanelisi, I hope that was answered. Yamkela's question was, many companies now want to move into hybrid mode, yet statistics have indicated that employees were more productive at home. What are your thoughts on what might happen if the hybrid mode is permanently implemented?
For me, when we look at hybrid working, it's essentially working at home and at the workplace as well. So it's almost a win-win for me, and that is just to keep in touch with what it is, your overall organizational culture, and not losing the feel of working at the workplace. But at the same time, it is very important that organizations start to prepare themselves for fully remote working and look into it as being beneficial, as it is cost friendly, and it's also a way in which to prepare employees of a time where remote working will most probably reach, won't be now, but obviously 90% of companies may start doing remote working. Obviously, this is outside of your in the hospitality sector, where we still have people working, having cleaners and having to ensure that things are being cleaned or whatever in real time. But at the same time, there are technologies such as, and this is obviously in the far future, but your robots and things that will start taking over these tasks that humans do. So I think for me, hybrid working is we're still at a place where working fully remote may not be possible, given the different geographical aspects and different places that people come from, and people may not necessarily have the resources, and because of COVID and companies having to close down and some companies losing a lot of money, it's still not the most feasible option to fully go into remote working from home. And I think that's why hybrid working would be most preferred.
Okay. Yamkela, that was your question. Has it been answered? Because I feel like that was close to what I wanted to ask you, which was when you look at the future of remote working, and the fact that for employees, it's kind of a pay downgrade, but for companies, it is a positive thing. Do you think that it would be good for the company? And I mean, in this economic crisis, in our economic crisis, because we are currently in one, do you think that it's a good thing for future working or not?
Okay.
So that,
are you asking me the question?
No, I'm saying you kind of answered it in the brief. Yeah.
Okay.
So we do have another question though. This is by Seema, which says that what strategies can applicants for a position apply to stay ahead of the digitalization in the hiring process? For the example, ATS bot.
ATS bot. Can I please just ask for explanation as to what the ATS bot is?
Yeah, the application tracking system that a lot of big firms use.
Okay. Okay, and then please just repeat the question. So how can applicants?
The strategies that applicants can use for position of employment to stay ahead of digitalization.
Okay, I think for me, it's really to diversify your skills, to really not look into what it is, to really start. There are many online programs that you can start doing that are based around your digitization and your future world of work. So to really diversify your skills by, for example, I said I did my undergraduate degree in industrial psychology, and then I did labor relations and HR. And essentially all of these work under the umbrella of your talent management, but they all work on different things. So one works on the overall well-being of employees, the other works on the systems that are put in place. Are they in alignment with the laws and legislations of the company and your overall HR? And so it's so important for me that applicants start to look not only at the skills that are required now in a workplace, but also start to be aware and upskill themselves through the many different online programs that are presented to us, and it's free, that really focus around the digital workplace.
Seema, I hope that answers your question. Before we move on to the next question, just a reminder that everyone must please fill out the form. The link is in the chat box. And once you fill that out, that helps you get the participation certificate. The next question was from Ashvir, where he asked how organizations can bridge the gap for entry-level graduates.
For me, bridging the gap for entry-level graduates is something that I believe Culture Legions is already doing, and that's providing internship opportunities for work experience, obviously without fully exploiting the employees and the actual labor that they're doing, but obviously looking into providing employees with real-time experience as to how it is they can obviously change the organization, what it is, and this adds to your experience as an applicant. So I think bridging the gap, companies really need to start looking into providing internship opportunities or skills programs that look to upskill graduates or those that are seeking work.
I agree. We have another question by Seema. He's asking, how can HR managers ensure that the transition for employees who have returned to the office is comfortable and seamless without compromising their productivity?
I think they need to do it in bits and pieces, and that's why if you're going to go fully back to the work place, it's very important that we don't just, obviously, as COVID was a culture shock, because as soon as COVID happened, people had to start now working remote, and there was no option of, besides obviously doctors and stuff, there was no option of really having people go back to work. But now, because there is hybrid working, we slowly look into having employees slowly adjust and go back to the workplace without fully now saying employees should now work, because yes, remote working has opened up new possibilities for employees to start working fully at home. So I think by just doing it in bits and pieces and taking it slowly and really look into hybrid working before saying employees should fully go to the workplace.
I agree. A slow transition is better than nothing, right? Adebi has two questions for you. The first one is, when it comes to asynchronous work, in remote work medium, how can an employee keep up with the standard time of work and still work at their time?
So essentially, that's a good question, actually. So essentially, it's very important that employees are really, you're given the opportunity to make use of your skills so that employers can actually see whether or not you still need more training, whether or not there are still areas of development that you have. So to ensure that, can you please just repeat the question again? How can they ensure?
When it comes to asynchronous work, guys, it's a Friday, work in remote work medium, how can an employee keep up with the standard time of work and still work at their time?
Okay, so obviously being at home, it might be very difficult now, as well as employers are starting to also create check-in and checks out when you are at home. So this is just with managing your time effectively and managing the things that you can do outside of work at that time as well, because I think we really do get distracted when working at home and having to also now cope with our work deadlines. But I think if you manage your time well, then you should be able to cope. And as I did say, if it's something that you're not coping with, then you refer back to your HR and really see if it's a problem of adjusting to the remote working, if there's more training that you might require. But fully, for me, it would be managing your time well and efficiently, as you would have if you were working at the workplace.
Okay. We have the second question from Adibi. Adibi, you, me, and this word are tussling on a Friday afternoon, child. But the question is, how can an employee who chooses asynchronous work measure performance?
So essentially, performance will be measured by the outcome of, if you're saying personally, you look into the task you were given, how long it would take you to complete that task, is it fast, is it not, and to check the overall outcome when it comes back to aligning it with what it is, the tasks that are required of you at work. So you can measure your own performance. Now employers are starting to give out surveys as well. So through surveys, you will genuinely see where you are in the process of performance management.
Okay, well, that's all the questions that I've received. Are there any more questions or hands that want to be raised? 2 minutes? No? Okay. Just a reminder to please don't forget to fill out the form. And Lebohang, thank you once again for your time, and thank you everyone for participating in this webinar. The topic was really intriguing and very useful for our day and age. We've learned a lot. And to all our attendees, you should not please forget to fill in that form because you will get your participation certificate. Lebohang, would you like to add something before we wrap up?
May I please just ask a question as well?
Yeah.
Is the participation form also opened up for me, or only those?
Well, I mean, if you want one, sure. Can we get Lebohang a participation certificate, please, guys? She did participate. She did participate. She's even laughing at my jokes, so you know that's good. Thank you, Lebohang, for joining us on this beautiful Friday, and for the vote of thanks, Ashvir, you've got the platform.
Good evening to everyone present. Okay, so I am Ashvir, a People Operations Senior Mentor. And on behalf of the Culture Legions team, we'd like to thank Lebohang for joining us today to execute such an informative and amazing webinar. It is really something to reflect on how organizations can actually redefine their talent management strategies. We'd also like to thank everyone for taking their time and participating in this webinar, as without you, it would have not been possible. Lastly, I would like to thank our SCI team for completely coordinating this event all by themselves. And webinars are a common thing with Culture Legions, so if you did enjoy today, please be on the lookout in the future. Stay up to date by following Culture Legions on all social media platforms, and I hope you'll all have an amazing evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There is a consensus that you deserve a certification. Everyone says so. But before we go, can we all just turn on our cameras for a little bit and get a virtual group photo? I think it's Nakedi that's saying it. You'll let us know when you've got a girl. Do we have it? Is Nakedi here? Oh, Sima, are you taking it?
Yeah, I've taken a couple of photos. We're good.
Okay. Oh, we've been posing this whole time, but that's okay.
Thank you so
Well,
much,
guys,
everyone.
thank you so much for attending, and we hope to see you in future events. And don't forget to follow us. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.